Right then, this is a quick road test video, and this is for a Lexus RX 400 hybrid, and it's the top of the range SEL model. This particular car is registered GV08HPU, and mileage at the start of the road test is 49,615 miles. The reason we do these videos, very simply, is basically we just want customers or potential customers, who are looking at the car online in the advert to actually see the very car in operation. We know just how frustrating it can be to go and see a car which can look, perfectly good in the description and the photographs given, only to get there and drive it to find out it's got a fundamental issue, which would obviously manifest itself whilst test driving the car. So that's why we do it. The road test is also done on part of the road test route any prospective buyer would go on. And again, the reason for that is so that hopefully it would then be representative of what you'd actually feel yourself should you be offered a test drive in the car. So coming to the car itself, the RXs have always been a firm favourite of mine, just because I still have yet to find a car that can transport you from A to B, no matter how big the distance is, with the same degree of comfort, and relaxes you in the same way even after all these years. They're just a wonderful, wonderful vehicle. Obviously this is a low mileage one, so clearly it feels very, very tight to drive indeed. Engine and hybrid system starts instantly. Twist the key, generally starts in kind of like a silent mode, if you like, just go straight onto battery. They are, as Lexus advertise, what they call a self-charging hybrid. There is no plug-in, there's no range anxiety other than normal fuel, and the way it operates is seamless. It's absolutely superb. You don't do anything. You can select or enhance battery mode if you really want to, but most of the time people just leave them and drive. The car goes in between engine, hybrid, only hybrid, battery, and regenerates its electric under braking, absolutely seamlessly. It is a simple marvel of engineering. It really is. And they were light years ahead of their time in reality, and giving the world a tough, reliable, long-lasting system, which is what they are. To me, though, what really astounds it is the seamlessness of it. In conjunction with the auto gearbox, which is a CVT, the whole system just gives you this impression that you put your foot down and there's no interference from low speed to high speed. You throw your foot down and it just picks up, goes, and there's no there's no gear change, there's no change in mode. It's just wonderfully, wonderfully, wonderfully smooth. There's also no warning lights, of course, on the dashboard at all that relate to the engine or any other part of the car. And temperature gauge, and the car's been running for some time now, is running at just under half, which is exactly where it's meant to be on one of these particular vehicles. But a simply brilliant system, it really is. And the other thing, of course, is what I always refer to as real world fuel economy. I've had the pleasure, and I mean it, the pleasure to own some other cars, its competitors, X5 MLs, Q7s, had them all over the years, and they're perfectly good cars, and they're lovely in lots of ways. The one thing I would say is I do a fairly regular trip to the northeast to my family, and all of those which are turbo diesels would tend to give around mid-20s-ish, if you were lucky, on the same trip, just driving normally, not pushing on or anything daft like that. But the Lexus was always the most economical of the bunch. If it wasn't on 30, it might be just below, but it was noticeably more economical, but also noticeably so much smoother and quieter in the process. You got to the end of the trip just feeling so much more relaxed. You didn't get that boom from the diesel engines, didn't get that sort of lag and power, that you get with them. As well engineered as they were, and also reliability. These are in a different stratosphere in terms of reliability compared to those sorts of cars, especially with this sort of vintage, looking 12 years old. And it's not to say a Lexus won't go wrong, because all cars go wrong at some point. It's just the lack of frequency and the lack of expense when they do, by comparison. Driving along, again, steering wise, the car's got a nice power steering setup. It makes the car feel quite sort of hefty on the road, which I quite like. It tracks really nicely. Sorry, go around the corner. Tracks nice on there, and it basically doesn't. There's no vibrations coming back to the steering wheel at all. You should always pick a straight bit of road to do it on. I always somehow managed to do that, but there we go. But yeah, there's no vibrations at all at this speed or any speed up to the legal limit. Suspension on the car, so well judged for this type of vehicle, because Lexus straight away acknowledged the fact that this isn't a car that you're going to hustle along at great speed. And if you do want to, then you may well be better at something like an X5, which, you know, it has more sporty pretensions to it, I guess. What this gives you is a very, very, very well controlled car, in terms of, you know, it doesn't kind of lurch horribly through the corners, doesn't wallow about. Body control is actually very good, you know, unless you push on, you know, to, you know, a degree that you wouldn't push it. Most people wouldn't be antisocial. But what it gives you, of course, is this wonderfully compliant ride. It's so comfortable, so soothing for all occupants in the car as well. And what I'm looking for on these road tests is any signs of any kind of mechanical noises coming from underneath the vehicle, any kind of chatterings or knocking noises, of which there's nothing at all. It's all very smooth and very quiet underneath there. Just going to come to quite a tight corner now and give the brakes a bit of a shove. So they're very good indeed. They're powerful, and they what I'm looking for, particularly on big autos, is that there's no pardon me, there's no sort of pulsing or vibrations coming back through the brake pedal, and there's nothing at all. It's absolutely fine. Coming inside the vehicle, you know, openly admit I'm a bit of a technophobe, so I don't like kind of iDrive things and things like that. I love this style dashboard. It's beautifully made. Colour combination with the black and silver trim looks fantastic on this car as well. Wonderfully well made cars. They are simply beautifully made, and this is real build quality after years. And again, by comparison to the aforementioned, they're actually the better built of all of them. You know, they're not the heaviest sounding when you shut the doors, even though they're nice and solid. But what they give you is real build quality over many, many years. It all works beautifully. Air conditioning's ice cold, sat nav's working as it should, heated seats obviously. But it's all just lovely and easy to use, which I really, really like. If you like your music, by the way, these have the Mark Levinson stereos. It's a wonderful sound reproduction, because it's not trying to fight background noise, because the car's so quiet, generally speaking. So you get this, you know, if you can really sort of take in sort of the finer details of music if that's what you're into, and I love it. I absolutely do. But the dash is so simple. I mean, it's, you know, very highly equipped car. You know, it's a luxury car, but you don't get in and think, crikey me, you know, where do you start? You just get in, drive it, and it just all becomes very familiar very, very quickly indeed. As I said at the start of the video, probably a good time to stop, because the cows are literally just coming across the road. The whole point is just to show the car in operation, but to feedback on any issues there might be whilst driving the vehicle, of which there's nothing at all. It drives absolutely beautifully. These are fantastic cars in every single way, and I'm horribly biased, so take it with a pinch of salt, obviously. But the point is today is just to pick up on any issues, of which there's nothing at all. As always though, if you've got any questions about the car, don't hesitate, do give us a call.